Mesechus Brachos Daf Nun Daled. Starting the 9th parak of Brachos, we'd like to welcome all the listeners on Torah Anytime and to give a tremendous yeshikayach with Torah Anytime for hosting our shir. The Mishnah discusses someone sees a nace, a mokum shenas lo nace, he has to make a bracha, a nace of rabbim, a nace of yochid. There's interesting chiddush in Avodram, which is paskin in Shulchan Aruch. Avodram writes that the only time you have to make a bracha on a mokum shenasa by nace, only if the nace happened shaloi kederach hateva. However, a nace that happened kederach hateva, like if Ganvi came at night and people came miraculously to save you, that's a nace kederach hateva, and on that is no bracha on the nace. Avodram continues, and he says, why do we make on Chanukah and Purim? On Chanukah and Purim, that Sola was Kederach HaTeva. So he says on Purim, it was Shloi Kederach HaTeva because the king was choizer on his decree, and also he killed many people from Anshe Midinosoi. That is a miracle Shloi Kederach HaTeva. And by Chanukah he writes, the miracle was the Pach Shemen that lasted for 8 days. That was the only miracle Shloi Kederach HaTeva. Very interesting Avodram. The Shulchan Aruch brings this Lamais, and he brings Yesh Cholkim on the Avodram that you have to make a bracha even on a Neis Kederach HaTeva. And that the Magen Avram says he doesn't understand who's cholik on him. The guy needs further that if the Yesh Cholkim, even on a miracle, Kederach HaTeva, you have to make a bracha. So any Yoledes, any Cholish in the Srapish, you have to make a bracha, and Kol Yetzi Yerechaim should have to make a bracha, V'zeloi Matzinu. The Magen Avram is mashma that not only if the miracle is Shloi Kederach HaTeva is enough for the Avodram, even if the tzara was Shloi Kederach HaTeva, that's also enough to mechayev a bracha l'das Avodram. It's interesting, Machlokes Chayei Adam and Mishnah Berurah. The Chayei Adam has narichas about this. He says, according to the Avodram, if a big brick wall falls on somebody, people come miraculously and save him. Since the Hatzalah was Kederach HaTeva, that happens to be that the Hashgacha Pratis was that people should save him, you shouldn't have to make a bracha. But he might say brings rayas, they have to make a bracha, and he explains that over there, since it was so close to death, so therefore the fact that people came by Hashgacha Pratis, that has a halacha of a nes. However, the Avodram is only talking about somebody that was saved from Ganvi, and Ganvi is not considered such a miracle because they're only coming for money. If they find money, they'll take money and leave. And if they don't find money, why should they come and kill somebody? Because of the fact that they want money. On that to be halacha asked, what do you mean? That the halacha is fakert, someone that's bob machteres, someone that comes to steal, has halacha that is coming to kill, and you could kill him as a din of a roidiv. The Anya Yoshve brings down from Vayashiv, if someone's in a car accident, and some of the people, Achman Salon Nifter, those that saved have to make a bracha, asher also lineis. The Gemara with Beis brings the halacha of benching goyimol. The Gemara says 4 people are mechuyev to bench goyimol. The Gemara brings a story that Yehuda was sick and it got better, and they came to visit him and they said, "Ashrevach v'idot Hakadosh Baruch Hu," that he got better, and Yehuda said, "You parted me from benching goyimol." And the Gemara asked that he didn't answer. The Gemara says, "No, he answered on me." So on this Gemara, there's a tremendous discussion. The Rishonim, it is very negeya, the Yesodis of Afal Pisha Yotza Moitzi, how someone could pater somebody else with a bracha even though he's not mechuyev in the bracha. The Chedushi Ara says that although the Gemara says he said amen, it's lav dafka, he doesn't have to answer amen. Even without amen, since halacha is Shemea Ka'oina has halacha of a mevorich, even without amen, he has halacha of saying a bracha. On that, Rav Yishayim disagree, and the Rav Yishayim understand that specifically because he said Amen. And on that, the Yishayim ask, why do you have to say Amen? If it could be Yotze, it could be Yotze without Amen. The halacha is Shemea Ka'oina. Shemea has halacha of being Oina the bracha. And that is 3 mahalchim in the Mefarshim. Mishita Umbetzes writes that the reason over here why he had to answer Amen is because he wasn't mechaven to be Moitzi them. He wasn't mechaven to Moitzi Yehuda, so therefore, without answering Amen, he wouldn't get the bracha. On that, the Bialacha asks that will come out that according to this, anybody that's not mechuyev a bracha, as long as the answer amen, it works, and that's the Hava Shloimatzinu, that you don't have to be a mechuyev b'dav lahitzi rami dechevasai in a situation when the shemeya answered amen. The Tur brings from his father the Rosh that explains it differently. He says that over here they weren't mechuyev to make a bracha b'chlal. Since they weren't mechuyev to make a bracha, so therefore they can't be mitziyim. The only way they can be mitziyim was answering amen. And he says that although usually if you make a bracha when you're not mechuyev to, it's a bracha levatala. Over here it's not considered bracha levatala because they're giving shevach v'aidah on the nes that happened, that Yehuda got better. That's not considered a bracha levatala. And that the Bialacha asks, the Lo Matzinu has such a thing, that you can make a bracha that you're not mechuyev to make on giving a thanks to Kodesh Baruch Hu on the nes. He said even though you find like that by Shechianu, but he's very bothered to make a tasty to Rishat Shalacha. On both pshatim, he says it's an easier reason why they had to answer amen. The reason why you have to answer amen is because in order to say a birchas hagomel, you have to say hagomel chayovin toiva shigmolani kol toiv. A person has to be speaking about himself that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is gomel to him. And over there, they weren't speaking lashon shigmolani. They were giving their own shevach vaydo. It's a wrong nusach. So if it's a wrong nusach, how were they able to be moitzi Yehuda with such a bracha? On that, the Zichron Shmuel and the Stipler write that you see from the other Rishonim that Shemei Koina doesn't necessarily need to be the exact nusach that they're saying. There could be yotze with the Teichen Henyanim. Ayin, the Kilas Yaakov is whole back and forth about that. And Kveg has another aura on the sugya that will come out. L'das HaRosh, the Rosh fears always that if the Mevorich is mechuyev the bracha himself, then he can be moitzi chaveiroi even without amen. So the Kvega says, the Yisifam here, that even if he's not mechuyev the bracha, how much the Shemeya answered amen, that's enough to be moitzi at Rabbi Dechevasi, even if you're not mechuyev in the bracha. There's a tremendous kasha on this Kvega. The Avnei Nezer asks that if the only reason why somebody that's already yotzi dechevasei, that's not mechuyev in this mitzvah poil, ki moitzi rami dechevasei, is only because he answered amen, then how could someone that was already yotzi kiyah shofar be moitzi acheim kiyah shofar? He's already yotzi and there's no amen. And the Kilas Yaakov is further that by Megillah there's no niyas amen. So how could the kal be yotzi if the Koyer Megillah was already yotzi? On that, the Stipler writes that birchas hagomel is different. Only specifically birchas hagomel, a little not like your kveger. You need to answer amen to be yotze because each person has his own nays that has nothing to do with his friend. But you could say a different pshat. We spoke out b'siyat Ishmael and Daf Memvov, and we ma'irich on it in the Kovitz Neroi from Beis Medrash Gavoya that there's two separate halachas of Shemei Koina. One halacha of Shemei Koina is when everyone says Seibu Yachad, Nasu Kulon Kiguf Echad, like the Rishonim say. Over there, everyone's Yoitzu with the bracha of the Mevorich. And then there's a second halacha of Shemei Koina, when it's not a Seibu Yachad, when each person is being Yoitzu himself. Over there, it's as if the Shemei spoke out himself. So, Lefiza, you could say that that's Mavur in the Sugya, that in order for somebody that's not mechuyev to be moitzi rabim dechevasi, you need to answer amen. That's if it's only when it's not a seibu yachad, when they're not connected. So over there, for the mevorech to be moitzi the shemeya has to answer amen, and with that, if he spoke out the bracha himself. However, in the case of Megillah and Kiyah Shofar, we spoke about Barachos. It could be Megillah and Kiyah Shofar, since it's one big mitzvah for all the shoymim yachad. It has a status of a seibu yachad, and then therefore everybody stellt sich zu to the bracha of the mevorich. In such a situation, since the nasa kulan kegov echad, the all meshich shayich to his bracha, to his mishoifar, to his Megillah, so even though the tekeya is not a mechuyev b'davar, since he has connected to him all the shoymim, he can be moitzi them even without answering amen.